Okay, perfect. Great. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
First of all, can you hear us well and see us? If you write in the comments, that would be great. Hi, everyone.
Is your sitting position good?
Yes.
Perfect.
Perfect. Great. Just technical setup, making sure that everything works. Great. Everyone can hear. Let's get started. Thanks so much for joining. And thanks, Stephanie, for joining us for this live.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's fantastic to be able to speak about gut health, especially for kids, but also especially given your story. You speak a lot about gut health and your own health and your journey, and of course your kids. So maybe let's start from that, from your story, and then we can talk a bit about Alba as well.
Yes. So gut health is like a really lovely, not lovely, but it's a topic for me that I really like. I feel the need to talk about, but it's because it's so important. And I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory bowel disease when I was 12 years old. And the journey was like, it was very hard, and I was very sick. And I feel like it is a lot of stigma around these gut diseases, and it's so important because gut health is linked to so much, and also like mental health and different conditions. So I think it's important to talk about that, and also to help if there's services that can prevent gut health issues and inflammation and all that for our kids, like to do what we can for the future of our kids.
And we had a conversation before, and I was so impressed by how much you know about gut health and diet. And how did you get there? How did you learn all of these things? Because it's not so often, like oftentimes when we are diagnosed with a disease, we don't necessarily learn about the diet and gut health. So what was your journey finding out about that?
Actually, like when I was diagnosed, I was very young, so it was I didn't get so much information more than just like take your meds, go home, like eat various foods. I didn't get any instructions or anything. So I think this became like an interest for me, but it wasn't like an interest that I grew from because I thought it was fun, because I felt like I needed to like learn more about this to like ease a lot of my symptoms and ease the pain, and like what can I do to like live my best life with the circumstances that I have been given. So like that's the road. It was interest that came because of the disease.
And do you feel like knowing about this and changing your diet and lifestyle helped you?
It helped me so much. Like your diet is so important, not only like for persons that live with chronic diseases or EBD or any inflammation, but I think like for everyone. And I also believe that like some of the things we eat today would not even be like legal if they were like presented today. And as I told you before, I don't want to live a life where I forbid myself from like stuff, but I try to like live 80-20 so I can live my best life, enjoy when I want to, but like eat very good for like 5 out of 7 days just to like keep the balance.
I really relate to that because I had a similar story. So for those that haven't seen me before, I'm Nora. I'm the founder of Alba Health, and I started a company starting from my personal experience because when I was about 27, I started to have severe eczema, which is an inflammatory condition of the skin. So my entire skin, everywhere, arms, legs, everywhere was inflamed and cracking, bleeding. It was difficult to sleep. And I went through this journey where you go to the doctor and they say, apply this cream, and now you have a chronic condition, and that's basically your life. And then changing diet and learning about diet and gut health is really what helped me the most. And today I don't have those symptoms anymore. It doesn't mean that I'm cured, right? I'm predisposed to that and I have that. But as long as I stick to this lifestyle I got to, I'm free of symptoms, which is great. And I really share what you said, Stephanie, because for me it's also important not to be radical and restrict myself and only eat a few things, but it was really important for me to get to a balance where 5 days out of 7, 80% of the time I stick to some principles, and then when I have an occasion or something, I can have something that I enjoy and that doesn't affect me so much.
Yeah, I really relate to that. And I mean, also, I think overall for health, it's good to like, I mean, to eat balanced, and also like, I think remove like gluten and refined sugar and processed food, and also like for your kids, I think that will help them like live their best life as well. Because when you start from an early age, it's also, I think, the health conditions like inflammatory diseases and eczema and maybe like even diabetes or stuff, I think you can diminish the risk of getting that if you like are a little more aware of what you eat.
Exactly. And that's why I started Alba, because I understood that gut health is important, but it's even more important early on. I realized that I have eczema and I can stay free of symptoms, but I'm still a kind of an allergic person. I have a lot of food allergies and a lot of sensitivities. So I thought, how can we prevent it, completely prevent it? And then I found out that it might be possible from childhood. It's more difficult as an adult. And as an adult, you can more like manage your symptoms. But potentially for kids, we can actually prevent it. Because what happens, especially in the first, let's say, 3 to 5 years of life, is we're building our immune system, we're building our metabolism and kind of weight, and also brain. So gut health is important to build all of these systems. And the what we call the gut flora, so it's the microbes in our gut, train the immune system in those years. So the gut flora you have in those years can affect your risk of immune conditions later. So when I found out that, I thought I need to do something about it, because potentially we could prevent it in other generations in the future. Or if we don't do anything, maybe more and more people will be sick. In fact, more and more people have allergies, for example.
Yeah, and also like I agree with that, and that we live like in a world right now, and all these autoimmune diseases are like they're just more and more cases, and as you said, like eczema, and I also think that we live like in a stressful world. So I also think that stress affects the gut as well. And that there's as you said, like supplements and stuff that you can do to like keep the gut balanced. But also like when you go through Swedish healthcare, like no one ever told me about the gut flora, or that they could have said, like, because I know for a fact that when you have EBD or Crohn's disease, it is off, like the gut flora is not balanced. And no one told me like take supplements because I have like Googled that for myself. So that is, I think everyone should take like probiotics to like strengthen the gut microbiome, because it can affect, as you said, autoimmune diseases, and reduces inflammation. And so I'm a firm believer of probiotics.
And you have a really important point of nowadays things are different than when we were kids, because our environment is changing, our food is changing. We live a more and more stressed life, more and more on social media. Our food is more packaged, more processed. So it's changing. And one thing that was very interesting for me was to find out that we're losing diversity in our gut. So we're losing microbes over time. What's happening to the environment and to the planet is also happening a bit within us, potentially because of antibiotics, packaged food, the fact that we live in more clean environments, and stress as well. So all of these things are putting pressure on our gut flora.
I agree. And as I said before, like my son Malcolm, because I have identical twins, he has been on antibiotics. And I thought to myself, like, okay, I don't want him to
Yeah,
take this, but he needed to. And
of course.
yeah, if he needs to, then he needs to. But I
Yeah,
also knew that his gut is going to be out of control. And he cried and was sad. He was like, I have pain in my stomach. And they're like 4 curves below in their weight. So they're really skinny, didn't want to eat. And also like I didn't get so much information about like now I knew that for myself because I have issues with my gut, but
yeah,
like it is so important to like keep the gut flora in balance. And also I can feel like when I have like my stomach is in a bad place or I have flare up, it
yeah,
affects my mood. Like the
yeah,
brain and the gut is so linked and so connected. So I think that I've also read like that people who have gut issues can also like have more like cases of depression and
yeah,
anxiety. So
yeah.
it's like we have to solve the gut issues.
Yeah, definitely. There's like a two-way connection.
Yeah,
The brain affects the gut and the gut affects the brain.
brain one and brain two.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me more about how you heard about Alba and what was interesting for you.
I have 3 kids, a daughter that is 7, and then I have my identical twins. And my daughter has never had like any gut issues or anything like that. But my dad has ulcerative colitis, which is an inflammatory bowel disease, and I have Crohn's, which is also an inflammatory bowel disease. And my kids were prematurely born, so they said that they have like a high risk of developing some kind of sicknesses and illnesses. So I were cautious for like every symptom. And then they had like a lot of constipation. Maurits like a lot, so he had medication for this that he took like for half a year or something because he didn't want to go to the bathroom and it hurts his stomach and everything. And it kept getting worse, and then we went to the doctor and they said just like take this medicine. And I was like, okay, I can take the medicine, but I also want to get to the root with this. What is this? And I found it very hard to like, you know, be taken seriously. I wanted them to take like tests to see if it could be something
Yeah,
else, but no, it was a long road. But then also like Malcolm was a lot on antibiotics and he had pain in his stomach. And then also I saw like in their poop it was like mucus or like
yeah,
so I felt like okay, it feels like they have some kind of inflammation, but I don't know what it is. And
yeah,
I always feel like it's a struggle to get help. Like feels like you have to be like half dead to get help like from
yeah,
healthcare sometimes. So then I was just like, okay, so what can I do? And then I found out about you, and I thought like your service was amazing. That you can take this test and you can see like what's going on in their bodies and in their gut, and if they need some like supplements or yeah, you can like basically almost like you can prevent bad things from happening just by analyzing their poop. And I was like, whoa, this is right up my
yeah,
alley.
exactly. So for those that haven't heard about us yet, so at Alba Health, we help parents discover their children's gut flora. So we have a test, and it's a poop test, as you say. We look at
I
all
take them a lot.
So we look at all the microbes present in the child's gut, and we tell you also what that is linked to. So some bacteria, for example, are linked to the immune system, some are linked to metabolism and weight, some are more linked to brain cognition. So we tell you everything that is known up to now on that. And also we put together an action plan on what can be done to boost your child's gut flora. And that can be food. So sometimes it's food to add, and sometimes maybe food to swap or
Yeah.
avoid, but also sometimes probiotics, environment, because also our environment matters,
Yeah.
and behavior as well on what are the ways to introduce these foods. And we give recipes as well.
Yeah.
So we try to give you basically everything you need to know about your child's gut health and what to do to boost it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we've done, one of the first things we've done was to launch a study in Sweden. So we have this big study in Sweden with 300 families that gave us samples over time from their kids. So we followed them from 0 to 3 months until some of them are almost 2 years old. And we have collected a lot of questions about them on whether they have symptoms like constipation, allergy, eczema, but also what they eat and how they live. So we did that with 3 universities like Uppsala University. And that was to make this link between the bacteria and the concerns that are most common. So one of the things we developed recently is an indicator about constipation. So we saw that some of the kids in our study have some patterns in the gut that are linked to constipation and others don't. So that's one of the things we look at. It would be interesting to see also in your results.
I'm so interested to see what they're going to find out, because they're identical twins, so they have basically the same genes.
Yeah.
But also, like, I know that if you would put two identical twins in two different countries, they would most likely develop different kind of like issues and problems because of the environment. So like Malcolm's had, as I told you, antibiotics, and I also feel like he's more skinny. They're 13 kilos and they're 5 years old, so they're like 4 curves below, and it's just get like this vicious spiral, because they have a problem with their guts. They don't want to eat. So for me, it's like I'm really happy to do this like collaboration, because you offer, like, also, as you said, meal plans, and you can help me like plan, because even though I eat like very clean and I take care of myself. I mean, sometimes I want to eat pizza too, but I can, like, I don't, because it's not always worth it. But for kids, like, to see everyone else is maybe eating stuff like that, but I want them also to eat healthy. But it's a struggle because they want to eat nuggets, and I mean, they do eat nuggets. I'm no super mom like who cooks everything from scratch. I'm not, and I'm never going to be. But like, if you can help me like swap out some stuff where you can see in their guts, like, okay, they need to have more of this. Like you said, they can eat kefir instead of yogurt or whatever. You can like help me make sure my kids are going to have a nice, healthy life.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of parents ask us, okay, maybe I will see the results, but then maybe I will need to change my life drastically and cook 3 hours a day. I don't have that time. But that's why we have also the consultation with the coaches. So we have certified nutrition and health coaches that help you identify what are the easy steps that you can take. Because as you said, you don't necessarily need to focus on the weekends or on the occasions, but just on your day-to-day. How can you swap? Can you maybe add probiotics? How can you maybe cut out things that maybe there are some things that is like, I really don't want to eliminate this. I want to keep it in my life because it's part of my routine and it makes me happy.
Ice cream.
Exactly. There are things that are important. We need to optimize for our happiness and full life.
Yeah, and also, like, I read on your webpage that you said like the goal is to like get rid of all get rid of chronic diseases that are linked to the gut, and I think that's like so I think it's truly amazing, and I wish I like maybe my parents knew about this when I was little, but there wasn't so many like studies about this then, and people didn't talk so much about it because everyone felt like people were ashamed about gut problems and stuff. But I think it's good that we talk about it, and also like that if maybe people have kids that have issues with their gut or eczema and inflammation, or like they feel that something is off, I think this is such a good like thing to do, to like just make sure that the best persons in our life, our kids, are like safe and healthy, and that we do everything to maximize like their life quality. So I think I would have done this test even if we weren't like collaborating, because I think it's really amazing.
That's fantastic. How has your experience been so far with Alba? You have already done some steps.
For me, it was very easy because I leave a lot of those tests myself.
Yeah.
But it was really easy. Like, you get this little package, you open it up, and then you have like instructions. Okay, so I'm going to take a poop sample. That is not so hard. And we've all been like wiping the baby's butts from poop, so it's no big deal. Took the sample, just put it down in this little cup thing, put it back in, and left it to the post office. And now I'm eager to get the results and see what I can do and what you can help me with to like make sure they're healthy and good.
Yes, we're also looking forward to that. And basically what to expect from that is that you'll get a report and that will have the results.
Yeah.
So an overview of your children's gut health, and it's also telling you what those things mean.
Yeah.
So what they're associated with. And then
you can make examples like if there will be something is a little off with their stomachs, what could it potentially say?
One of the things that is most established is the connection between the gut flora and the immune system, which in your case is interesting, right? Especially in the first years of life, but also, all through life.
So even if you have kids that are like 10, you can still take this. It's good, like, because you can prevent.
Yes.
And find early and
exactly at all ages. And I would say 0 to 3 to 5 is where most of the immune system is developed. But also later on, even as adults, our gut flora and the bacteria there regulate the immune system. So it's always important. And that's a very established connection. So there are some bacteria that are known to be beneficial and to regulate the immune system, but also to lower inflammation. So one of the things we look at is what are the levels of these bacteria? And the good news is that those bacteria also exist as supplements. So if they are low, there are ways to take those supplements. But the other thing that not many people know is that those bacteria thrive on certain foods.
Yes.
So
shout out to gluten.
Exactly. So one thing, the way to think about it, sometimes I visualize it like this. It's a bit like, say, you want to grow a plant, you need a seed and you need the fertilizer, right? So in the same way, you need the bacteria. So you need the bacteria to be there. But then you also need to feed them with something. So for example, in newborns, we know that those bacteria thrive on breast milk or on some supplements that can be added to formula. So not many people know that even if they're giving a probiotic to their newborn, if they're formula feeding them and that formula doesn't have those kind of compounds, that bacteria will not thrive. And sometimes those probiotics don't work in formula fed babies, for example.
So that can like also develop like as for me like IBD. If I would miss something, then my flora would be off, and then it can grow like and fester and get worse.
Exactly. You can imagine it. You can imagine the gut flora a bit like a garden, like a forest, right? There's nothing that some bacteria are bad. Some we know that they're bad because they can cause an infection. But the majority of them, they can be good in the right amount. And then there are some that if they take over, it would be bad, and that they're associated to symptoms. So we want to keep a good balance. We want to feed a lot of these bacteria, especially the beneficial ones, as much as possible. And we want to keep the ambiguous one, or the ones that can be unfriendly, we want to keep them low. And that's the other thing you can find out from the test. It's called gut flora diversity. We want to ideally see a high diversity in the gut flora after foods are introduced, after 6 months of age. And actually also for people that have IBD, we know that they have a lower diversity often.
So my forest is a little
hollow. maybe, potentially, yes. Or maybe because you are also, you do so much for your diet, it might be different. But that's what we know. So that's another thing you can find out. It's about diversity, and it is very, very much associated to health and well-being for life. So we want to look at diversity, definitely. So diversity, then we have beneficial bacteria, especially for the immune system, but there are also some linked to metabolism and weight, healthy weight, and also linked to cognition and brain. And then there are some that are less friendly, that can be potentially unfriendly. So we also look at those ones. And they can be linked to symptoms like constipation, stomach pain, other types of symptoms.
And also like, as you said, you have eczema, And
Yeah.
so is that like a part of so you can
Yes.
see which type of supplement you need to give to make sure that they don't get it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's more linked to the immune system as
Yeah.
well. So oftentimes we see that there are some beneficial bacteria for the immune system, and if they're low, that's linked to higher inflammation,
Yeah.
higher risk of allergy, higher risk of eczema, higher risk of asthma as well.
So meaning if other people, as they do when they send in their samples and they
Yeah.
have a low like amount of these
Yeah.
bacteria, then you for a fact know, okay, so this means that these kids have a high risk of developing chronic diseases, inflammation, eczema.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
exactly. Exactly. Or it's an association.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So we give you all of that information of what are all these links that
Yeah.
we know. And it's not only based on our study, it's also based on decades of research.
Yeah.
So our co-founder has this big study in Finland,
Okay.
where they followed thousands of babies until 7 years old. And then we have also one in Denmark where they follow them for 20 years. So it's a lot of knowledge that has, comes from universities as well for a very long time. So we try to compile all of this and give you a snapshot of what can we tell.
And for me that would like mean so much because I think or I dream of every parent wants what's best for their kids, and I mean this could help find if something would be off, then I can make sure that I do everything in my power to make sure that they don't get sick, or I can take the supplements, or if I need to change diet, or but could you like potentially also see if any kid that they send in a sample and you would see that there's a bit of inflammation, can you see like, okay, this you seem to have a higher risk to developing EBD, for example?
What we can see, so one of the things we know is that if you have this unfriendly bacteria in high amounts, they can produce inflammation, right?
So they're linked to these kind of
exactly
diseases. Yeah.
They could produce inflammation, and there are some that are linked to a disrupted immune system.
Yeah.
So it could be linked to IBD as well. IBD, we don't focus too much on IBD, a bit more on allergies, eczema, but you could see, if you see this immune system bacteria that are low, you could say, okay, that's not great for the immune system. So we want to try to increase them as much as possible.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see specifically, we don't want to diagnose a disease or see.
But like high, some kids,
high risk, you could say, an association to those things.
Yeah.
And maybe also, let me see if there's any questions. If you guys have any questions for us, feel free to put them in the chat. I don't think I have seen any. I just wanted to check.
Because also I feel like when you go through the Swedish healthcare system, it can be hard. Like if I wanted to know these type of things about the microbiome, or if they need any supplements, I'm not like I won't be given that information because they don't do these type of tests.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. Now it's not done through the normal healthcare system. We can test for some specific bacteria, but not for the entire microbiome. So it's quite a new thing.
Yeah, but it feels like it's going to be revolutionary.
Yeah, exactly. More and more people are interested in this.
Health, yeah, and how it's linked. Because for me, when I also take probiotics and prebiotics, and I take like gurkmeja, like supplements for my body. And I also feel like when I do this, I feel so much like stronger mentally, and I feel happier because when my like gut is off, it's really, they're truly connected. So
definitely. And a lot of people ask about probiotics because a lot of people, I think, are confused about what probiotics should I take, what should I give to my child, is it good, is it not good, because there's many products out there. And the important thing to know is that each probiotic is different because they have different types of microbes, and some have a lot of evidence or clinical evidence and studies. Maybe some help the immune system, some other help more with constipation or gut problems. So one of the things we can see from our test is which microbes are missing and which ones are good for your child, versus which ones are not needed at all.
That's amazing, because when I want to give like Malcolm probiotics when he had antibiotics, I was like, I don't know what to get him, because there are so many, and there sometimes it said like these are 100 different, and I'm like, out of how many, like 10,000, so like it's hard to know what to choose, and you offer like the answer, like these are the ones you need. So that's so good that you can target them, because of course it's not necessary to give supplements that you don't need.
Exactly. Sometimes it can even be bad, because if you have too many bacteria, especially for younger kids, it could be too much.
Okay.
It could even cause bloating, or make them feel not so good. So sometimes it's just not needed at all. And sometimes we do say in our report, look, probiotics are not needed in this case because the microbiome is already very good. So it's very interesting to see. And I think also after you give probiotics, over time you can also check, maybe after antibiotics, did something change? Are we on the right track again? So and you're not guessing.
Exactly. But for you who has had like severe eczema, I also have some friends who have kids who have that, and it feels like heartbreaking because it hurts so bad, and it's also like it's inflammatory, and does it come from the gut and also the immune system, and what happens like when you get this?
Yes, great question. Yeah, it's an inflammatory condition, so it's linked to the immune system and to inflammation. So when I had eczema, I did a test actually, and I found out that my bacteria diversity was very low as well. So it's also linked to eczema, and especially there were some bacteria that are good for the immune system. They were also very low.
Okay.
So because of that, I thought, okay, this is eye-opening. I need to do something about it, and that's where I really started my journey. So I started really to eat a lot more vegetables. A lot of people, when I tell them about the gut and the microbiome, and I say you should eat more fiber and more vegetables, they're like, oh yeah, I eat a lot of vegetables. But when you count them, how many do you actually eat? I started to count them, and I was not eating so many, maybe like 5, 8 different types. But we know that for the gut flora, it's important to eat at least 30 plants per week. Different ones. And that could be vegetables, fruit, but also nuts and seeds.
Like sweet potatoes that now.
Sweet potatoes.
Vegetable.
Yeah, exactly. Legumes as well. Or like, for example, seeds or nuts or spices, herbs, these kind of things.
Yeah, nuts are also so like hard because some of them are not good and some of them are good.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also very individual, right? There's also a lot of, it depends on you. It's a bit subjective. But when I started this, and when I talk to people, a lot of them say, okay, now that I think about it, I don't eat so many, because in our lives, we have so many other things and we don't eat enough fiber. So changing my diet and incorporating more of those really helped me grow this diversity. And I do believe it's part of the reason why I don't have it anymore.
Do you get any flare-ups at all?
Zero.
That is amazing.
I don't have it at all. I did, like last year, I had to take antibiotics as well. I told you I had this wisdom tooth problem. I was very anxious because
I understand that.
I knew of the impact, but I took probiotics during the antibiotics.
I do that as well if I have to be on antibiotics.
Exactly. And then I really focused on my diet, and I felt good overall. I felt at some point my skin was a bit dry and a bit itchy. So I was very stressed out because I thought maybe it's coming back all over again. Maybe I messed up my gut again. But it wasn't a problem in the end. I think everything went back to normal. And I don't have this. It's incredible.
It is amazing that it's like truly gave you the answers which supplements to take, and also like with the diet. But so if there are moms and dads watching who have kids with like eczema, so this is like, because I've also heard that it's sometimes hard to get help from like Swedish healthcare. So you would like recommend them to do this test and send it, and then they get the answer on like because it's all connected to the gut. So meaning to take these supplements and maybe have a diet, it can like remove the symptoms entirely.
It can definitely help. And we have a lot of our users, parents that come back to us and say, my son or my daughter has much less eczema or it went away completely. So we have those stories all the time. Sometimes it's not due to the gut, which is also good to know.
Yeah, of course.
And now we also have a doctor in our team. So we have a functional doctor that can help parents go to the root cause of their kid's disease.
Yeah.
So if we see that the gut flora is okay, for example,
yeah, then it's something else.
Then maybe it's something else. Sometimes it can be a food allergy.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes you need to do an elimination diet, and they can also write a prescription for that if it's needed for daycare, for example.
That's
But
amazing. So you offer that service as well. You have a doctor.
Yes. We have a doctor in Sweden that does that. Sometimes they need to do, for example, tests for celiac disease, because sometimes it can be more complicated. It can be eczema, but maybe there could also be something with the growth. So we also want to make sure that those children are supported.
So you're going to see like now, because my kids are 4 curves below, they're tiny and small and gut issues and everything. Then you can potentially see also with growth and if they would have gluten intolerance, because that's celiac, right?
Yes,
And
definitely.
Can you see even if they're lactose intolerant?
Not from our test.
No.
Not lactose intolerance. That would be more of a genetic test.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
But still celiac, because celiac and eczema, aren't they like linked together?
They're both linked to the immune system.
Yeah.
But we don't give you a diagnosis of celiac through our test.
No.
We can tell you about the immune system.
Yeah.
But if we see, for example, that the gut flora is good, then our doctor might look into other things and ask to do other tests. Maybe they could go through the normal healthcare system. So those you can get for free, like normally.
Yeah.
But she can help you look into other potential causes as well. And we started to offer this because we truly wanted parents to get to the bottom of what is going on. There is something, a lot of them tell us, there's something in my child that is not working well. I'm worried. Maybe they're eating something they shouldn't eat. Maybe they have an allergy. Maybe they have something. And she can help go more in depth into this. So we would probably look at that with you.
That is very good to know. And I think it's super interesting. And I'm very excited to get my results back.
Yeah, and we really want to help people get to the root cause, because the thing is, medicines, can be great and can be very helpful. But medicines should help you in the short term, like for short kind of situations. We shouldn't rely on medicines for our entire life.
I agree with you. That's what I felt when I took them to the doctor. Like it feels like I always get like a prescription of some type of medicine, and of course sometimes you have to take like antibiotics, and I'm totally pro that. But I also feel like, what is the root cause? If it comes back, the constipation or the gut pain or eczema or flare-ups or whatever, like there is something going on in the body. And we need to like find a real issue.
Exactly.
Where it stems from.
Exactly, because also if you're not finding it and you don't eliminate it, it's still there in the body and it's still bothering you, and it can potentially cause other problems over time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even though like hopefully we won't like notice any like crazy stuff going on in my kid's body, but like if we find that something is off, we can we can like try to eliminate the danger with like supplements or a diet or whatever, and that will in the long term prevent them from getting other diseases. So even though if we don't find diseases, you still can find like what is off, because that is what like links to diseases next. As like for me, because my gut flora was off, if someone would have taken this test on me, I would probably have gotten, or I'm sure I would gotten back the result that my gut flora was off, and I could have taken supplements. Even though I don't know if it would prevented me from having Crohn's, I'm sure it would have eased my symptoms. It would maybe I wouldn't have had the flare-ups that were so extreme that I had, because my gut was entirely off. So you can I think it's so good that you can find a root cause, and then you can like work from there, so you don't
Yeah.
get any even worse stuff that are linked to this later on in life.
Exactly. And not many know that, for example, for newborns, let's say 20% of newborns have colic. You
Yes.
know, when they cry a lot and you don't know exactly why. Not many know that kids that have colic are more prone to have eczema. And then the kids with eczema are very more prone to have food allergy or have asthma. So it could be, and all of these are linked to changes in the gut
Immune
flora.
and in the because if you
And
have
in the immune
changes in the
Yeah.
gut flora, it is connected directly to the immune system.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's like it's different like leads. It starts from the gut flora.
Yeah.
And then it like can fester and grow on if you don't find the root cause. So I think that's so important that you said that, because for everyone like thinking about doing this test, that it's like in the long term, like in the long haul, to make sure that if there is something off, you find it now and you treat it now, because even if it's nothing dangerous right now, more than like something that is off that can be treated, it can lead to that in the future. So it is so important to check it out. That's what I'm doing for my kids, because
Exactly.
I want to make sure that in the long run, it's their health is going to be fine. They're going to have a good life with good quality.
Exactly. Exactly. And the way we do things today is a bit the other way around, because a lot of times say, okay, we just wait and see, and they will grow out of it, and it will go away, and maybe it will go away, but you don't really know if it would really go away. Maybe the symptom will go away, but there is something that wasn't
Triggers
working.
it. Yeah, that's what I meant when somebody feels like you have to. I mean, I have a lot of love for the Swedish healthcare system, because I've been really like sick and they've taken so well care of me, and I'm forever like grateful. And I believe in their work and everything. And I also I'm a true believer of like medication, but I also feel like you have to find the root cause of it, and also to be like to be proactive, because it feels like you have to have very severe symptoms to sometimes be taken seriously, or to get like remitted further on. And I would love for us to be more proactive, that okay, they haven't developed extreme symptoms yet, but I feel something is off, or we have colic, or eczema, or the gut is weird, or the the constipation, or the other way around, like diarrhea. Something is off, like we let's be proactive and see what it can be, so we can prevent the kids from having like diseases in the future, or other types of like immune issues.
Exactly. And no, we're super, pro of the healthcare system. It's not a criticism in any way.
It's not. This is like a supplement, right?
Exactly. It's like a complementation, I could say. And also same with medicines and antibiotics, they can save lives, they can be super needed. And it's great that we have those tools, and then we're able to have all of those things to help us when needed. But actually a lot of our users are doctors.
Amazing.
Because they
know when they believe in it, and they know it works.
Exactly. And they do also see the same problem in a way. And it's no one's fault, it's not the doctor's fault.
Of course. But that's the way it's like shaped.
Exactly. And then it's very hard to change.
It's like a band-aid over like a wound, but you don't like treat where the wound is coming from.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of them tell us the same. They're like, I work in healthcare, and I know, of course, everything we do makes sense, and it's great, but we are lacking a bit the preventative side, and also the focus on nutrition and food.
That's what like caught my eye, because like the healthcare Swedish, I know it, and I love it as well, but I felt like this part is missing, being proactive, like nutrition's food, because as I told you, like I had to Google everything for me and my kids and the family, and it would be nice to have like professionals like you that we can like rely on to give us the like possibility to live the best life.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's very interesting that there's so much knowledge that is coming from research, from universities, but it takes decades, many, many years before they become part of the healthcare system. So we want to help move that forward faster. And we want to be, as you say, like a complementary service to what is already there for the healthcare system, and maybe one day we will be part of it as well.
That would be so amazing to have like this, as you said, all the medication that saves life and all that part, that organ, and then you as well. It would be
Yeah.
like the perfect match because yeah, I think it's revolutionary because I think we need this for our kids.
Great. And what's maybe one question from me is, what is maybe your tip for parents that are listening on what could be things that are easy to do that can help children's gut health?
Diet, of course.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm like, it's easy for me to eat for myself, but I mean, my kids want to eat delicious things too.
Yeah.
But like, you can change some stuff. Like, you can do, I love sweet potato and it's a good like nutrition. And
Yeah.
you can change that instead of like pasta because for me, I've also learned that gluten is very like inflammatory. So you can like try to change small things, but like still keep the ice cream during weekends because
Yeah.
they have to be able to live their best life. But also then, I mean, if you're, I think like this, if you're worried or if you sometimes feel something is off with your child, I would just like take the test and check and see if there is something more that you actually can do because I think it's a really good investment for your child's health and it's so easy, it goes fast, and you're going to be able to give your child like the best gift, like health.
And you get basically everything you need to know all at once. How long did it take you to learn all of these things?
Oh my God, I'm not fully learned yet at all, but I mean, I learn and I hope I grow like every year, and I always like I want to learn more and grow more, and I never want to be like stagnated and still. So, but it started like maybe in my late or like in my 30s. I think I was just like when I get children, I
Yeah.
need to like focus on this more, but hopefully I'm gonna know even more later on.
Yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey.
You never stop learning. It's the
No.
same for me. What do you think? I don't think we got any questions. If you guys have any, just let us know. Do you have any other questions on our test? What are you most looking forward to?
But I'm looking forward to be able to like if something is off, I can give them the right supplements. I can give them the right like diet. Yeah, but just like some extra help that the Swedish healthcare doesn't really offer right now.
Yeah.
And I've never had a child with colic, but it's I have friends who have it, and
Yeah.
it must be. It seemed to be like horrible. And I also read on your webpage that like was it 20 or 50% that have colic?
20%.
20%, and that's
Yeah.
a lot of kids. And also, is this this is also linked to something in the gut that is off?
Yes. There's also an association with the gut flora.
Yeah.
So there are some microbes that are lower in kids with colic. And actually, those is one of the cases where probiotics can really help.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of studies that show that probiotics can help kids with colic, but not all of them. And also only if they're breastfed or if they take these compounds in the formula that feed the bacteria. So it's a bit complicated, I think, to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
So that's one of the cases where we can help the most.
That's amazing because I've seen my mom suffer and their kids a lot. So that you can help with that is amazing. No, but this is something I think everyone should do it for their kids.
Yeah, great. But I think we have. I was just checking if we have any questions. Do you have any tips on introducing healthy habits in today's world?
To the kids, I mean, you can make it fun. Like maybe if you bake something, take the gingerbread like shapes. You could do that and like make a funny face out of like the food or just like I don't know. Don't put too much pressure. And I saying this to myself as well because I've had really much anxiety with feeding my kids because they're 4 carbs below and they don't want to eat and all that. But I've read and heard that you should just like don't trigger so much, like just like let them play and let them have fun, let them eat. and just like I think maybe offer them 3 new things every day, even if they just put it in their mouth and just spit it out. And yeah, when you also have time, maybe you can, if they like pizza, maybe you can do some like home cooked variant when you have the time. Just like be creative and try new stuff. And just like uh, no judgment or anything if they don't like it. Just try to
low
offer.
pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's one of the tips that our coaches also give. So it's great that
But
you
I'm
tried
giving
it
it to myself
Yeah.
too, because I just want everyone to know that I'm not like a perfect mother at all. I try every day to do my best, like, and I fail as well, like everyone does. But I think that that's the advice I would want. Just like keep trying.
But it's already incredible how much you know and how much you're trying and how much you want to know. So
Yeah, but I want to.
that's yeah.
I want to do. I want to do what I have the power to do to make sure that they live a good life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's great.
Yeah, but and do you have any advice?
I was gonna say one of the things that we talk about a lot is fermented foods.
Mm.
That is something that maybe not everyone thinks about.
Yeah.
Things like sauerkraut or like kefir, sourdough, kimchi, these kind of things can be very full of beneficial bacteria.
Also kimchi.
Yes.
I didn't know, but I know like the kefir have some good milk bacteria, whatever.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And kefir can have many times more bacteria than yogurt.
Okay.
Not to say that yogurt is not good. It's also good and it's also fatty in some ways, which also has some good things. But kefir can be milk-based or water-based. So there's different kinds and they can have a lot of different bacteria, but also vegetables can be fermented. Maybe it's good to pay attention to salt because a lot of times we need to put salt to ferment them. So for younger kids, maybe it's good to rinse them a bit so it's not very salty. But they can be a great addition to try out.
That is amazing. I'm gonna try kefir because my kids like yogurt as well, but like the flavored one, and I'm like, this is basically like eating ice cream. So I need something else to give them.
Yeah, kefir can be nice, and also they get used to a bit of a different taste that is a bit more acidic. So.
Yeah, it's a little more sour, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe the other tip is that also thinking about introducing different tastes and flavors early on.
Yeah.
Because what they get used to when they're younger, they will learn to love later.
Yeah, that is so true because like I think what you said there, like habits. Because if you do it a lot, then that's like it's gonna become a habit, and you're gonna do it out of like
So it's an investment for the future as well. There was also another question. Do you have any simple hacks on how to introduce more healthy foods to your kids?
But I think
similar.
Similar, but just like try to offer a lot and maybe no pressure. Like you can, as I said, like play it cute and just I don't know, maybe you can take, if they don't eat fish, maybe you can take the fish in like, I don't know, a tomato sauce or some cream sauce, or to like put something they like with the other like nutritious food that you want them to have. Like as I said, my kids loves like nuggets, and I don't want to give them that every day. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy like I can just like slow cook chicken or something, put it down and do, like little balls or something. And I mean, they liked it. So I think you can just like create what they like, create something new when you have time that is more like healthy.
Exactly. Many tell us that they do that also with fermented foods and sauerkraut, for example. Doesn't need to be in high quantity. It doesn't need to be the main part of the dish, but it can be meshed into what they like. So sometimes it's also not about taking something away from them, but maybe it's something to add.
Yeah,
exactly.
That is really good. And also, like, I'm not very good at baking, but I know you can bake like healthy as well. Can't you like also, I don't know, but maybe pour down something, or just like because I bought this like brownie mix from René Voltaire, and it was like chia seeds and stuff in it, and it was very delicious, and they liked it, and they had it.
You can add seeds; those add fiber as well, which is good for bacteria. So it could be in pancakes or in anything that you bake. It can be you can add fiber instead of, for example, baking with white flour, which has basically no fiber, and it's much more inflammatory.
Yeah, it is like gluten and
Yeah.
yeah, that's the worst for like my stomach, and I think it's not good for maybe anyone's stomach in like big
Big quantities.
Yeah, big quantities.
We rely a lot on it, right?
Yeah,
Everything
but
is
I also think that like our ancestors didn't like hunt for us to put food in the microwave, or if you know
yeah,
what I mean, like if it grows from the ground or anything, I feel like okay, then it's good to like
exactly.
eat. So I think like that, like okay, does it come from a tree or the like earth or the ground or whatever, or
Yeah.
tree? I can have it, but I can have other things as well. But I think about that, and then it's easy.
Exactly. There were also a lot of other questions actually. Why do you think this is not talked about more in the healthcare system?
That's a really good question, and I ask myself that a lot. Like, why didn't I get educated in this?
Yeah.
But maybe they don't like. They focus on getting you symptom free. I think that's their like main focus, to get you symptom free and to like uh, make sure the flare up
Yeah.
in whatever disease you have is not like active. But then maybe they don't have the, I don't know, maybe not the finances to go to the root cause,
Yeah.
because it costs money to like
Yeah.
develop like a nutritious plan for each individual. So I think maybe that's a combination, that it's like costs a lot of money, and that they focus on the like to ease the symptoms. That's what I
Exactly.
think.
Yeah, exactly. And we also have a podcast, and we interviewed a Swedish pediatrician and a Swedish doctor from Karolinska Institute. So we asked the same question because we were like, there are some things that have a lot of evidence, even they're recommended from the European pediatricians. So
Yeah.
it's doctors that say, you know, there's scientific evidence towards this. So why don't we talk about it more? And they said a bit the same. It takes a long time to change things.
Yeah.
And there is so much resources that we have.
Yeah.
So we need to address the most pressing things.
Yeah, the most like crucial things. And
Yeah.
even though like I understand that, because if someone comes
Yeah.
in with a bleeding stomach, you have to like address
Exactly.
like the blood and the wound. But
Yeah.
what you do is that you are you're working pre instead
Yeah.
of post, because
Yeah.
you want to see like if there's something off in the beginning, because that can lead to other chronic
Yeah.
diseases, instead of you going to the doctor and being like, hi, I have a chronic disease, or I have an immune system
Yeah.
illness based on or linked to the gut because of this and that. You can go there and be like, something might be off or they might not be off, but please
Yeah.
help me check, and then you can take action based on that.
Yeah.
So I believe on that you are correct. It's probably like hard to implement
Yeah.
because it takes a lot of time and resources, and but I mean, you're here, and then hopefully in the future maybe you can merge or something.
Exactly.
Can
Exactly.
offer the best possible health, like
Exactly. I saw a lot of other questions actually. I didn't notice them at first. After receiving the test results, do you guys provide a meal plan for kids as well? So yes, so we give an action plan that goes through foods to introduce, foods to swap and try to avoid, supplements like probiotics, environment, and behavior. And then we give a series of recipes as well, because the other thing that we notice is that recipes, especially for kids, but I think for everyone, mostly optimize for nutrients and calories and macros, but they're not so optimized for the gut. So we took the most common recipes for kids and we changed them a bit to make them gut friendly, but also we personalize them. So for example, if we see that for your child we need to boost certain bacteria, we look at specifically which are the foods that boost those, and we give recipes.
That's what I'm so eager to find out. Maybe you're like, okay, you have to eat more of this tribe or whatever, like kefir, or you have to have that. Then I for a fact know that I don't have to offer 10,000 things and be like burn myself in the hair. You can be like, here's the things you need to like,
the most important.
Yeah, the most important things.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be easier for me to like implement to my life.
Yeah.
For my kids.
And there was also one saying, my daughter is extremely allergic to nuts and also gets eczema on her arms. Would you say that this is something that could be linked to gut health? Definitely, and especially eczema, but also allergies, because as we said, the gut flora is linked to the immune system.
Yeah.
if the gut is disrupted, it can produce inflammation and that can flare up eczema. So I saw it on myself. But in kids, actually testing the gut in children that are quite young, you can actually predict the risk of allergy later. That's what our study also found.
That is amazing.
So when it's about allergy and it's about eczema, there's a strong association with this. So that is actually one of the biggest links that we have. So we really see that. We also have a lot of parents that come to us and say, after doing ALBA and changing lifestyle, my child has no eczema or less eczema. So we really see that for that, it can help. Let me just check if there's other questions because I saw a few. No, maybe not. I think we're actually at time, so it's 1 p.m. I hope I answered all of them. If there are some that we didn't address, maybe we note them down and we get back to you. But thank you so much, Stephanie. It was great to go through this and also get your tips, your experience, and your knowledge. It's really great to have a person like you that has had these life experiences and is helping to spread awareness and knowledge about this topic.
Yeah, it is like I feel that I have to do it, like because I wanted someone when I was young to talk about this, but I didn't really have that because I don't know, it's with gut, it's stigma and it's embarrassing maybe when you're a child and everything. So I feel like I have to do it, and I think it's fun as well. And this is amazing what you've created. So
maybe we should do one after the results to see what your experience was.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. And I'm excited.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thank you for everyone for joining.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.